Uh-oh, I'm going to Baltimore. Well, look at that. You see that? You see these women and everything? When you have all these kids and you have all this get up that you have to get in before you go out, you don't have a lot of time for nonsense. Right? Now, of many of the cities in here, you know, I've kind of gone over, Allentown has really gone downhill, but I mean, uh, you know, Baltimore. Talk about a city that I always say Baltimore is a very beautiful city in the way it was built and laid out. But what it has become is I don't have to even tell you. Um, when I talk about the horror dystopian aspect of it, I always think it from a Weird Tales point of view. Well, wouldn't it be a cool movie if you had somebody from this time period looking into the future and seeing what the world is now, but of course through the context of what they would know. So it would be kind of like visually exaggerated, like giant blob people, vicious cannibals with markings on them. All kinds of things that would horrify, and you would think the person was insane, describing this future. Well, uh, that'd be a cool movie. Somebody should make that movie. But you see here, yeah, of course, this covers the area. Uh, you have row homes, but you had all this great, the Washington Monument, Mount Vernon, the Peabody. My man James went in here and researched ancient Greek boxing with a Greek English dictionary. And this was an impressive place. A regular guy like James was able to go here, right? Careful. Oh, here we go. Originally compromised. A free public library. The institute is now a division of the Johns Hopkins University. Literally, Baltimore. You could say Baltimore is kind of owned by Johns Hopkins University at this point. Regular people are not allowed in here now. That's progress. uh, Here, this what is this? Is this Monument Hill, Druid Hill? This area, yeah, by North and Mount Royal. Um, I remember this is a Mexican American War monument, and I think this is they put this guy up higher. I could be wrong. I took a photo of this many years ago. Me and James were hanging out around this area. You still had the Confederate monument right south of here, but you had this Mexican American War monument, and it was put up in 1903. Interesting. And it's looking here, just like the interesting, Baltimore was a major. I mean, just like it was a major American city, East Coast city. Look at the old architecture. Oh, yeah, like I said, it always is. I think it. I mean, it looks creepy and imposing to people. I think it looks fucking beautiful. Yeah. So going through here, Loden Cemetery. You have Confederate Hill. I don't know if they've touched his statue yet. You have so many Marylander men fought for the Confederacy. I mean, Maryland really is. It's part of the Northeast technically, but it really is. Its spirit was that of a Southern state. Of course, this has changed now, but I'm sure they'll mess with that. I mean, look at these hospitals. Oh man, you look creepy. You don't want to go in there, right? I think John Hopkins is in here, but anyway, regardless, what I'm saying is, then remember they had a massive fire in the early 1900s, which burned a lot of these places down. But yeah, Baltimore. Look at all the people here. Look. Now you can say, oh, still have these things outside of Baltimore or these other cities. You act like it's all been destroyed. There's John Hopkins. They literally rule. They own that city pretty much. Henry Phipps Psychiatric Clinic. Ooh. You think of horror films in there, right? But just look at this. Look at this vitality. Look at this industry. I mean, there were Europeans back then who admired America. Could you believe such a thing? Fells Point. There you go. I tell you, these guys here, you would need them in Fells Point now, which was used to be the place people went to go to restaurants and bars in there. You should have these guys walk on the streets, okay, with live ammo. They would take care of that. Oh, you're a fascist. Just music, just music. Yeah, I just like looking at these old photos too. So, oh man, hey, Clifton Park, the reservoir. I've taken pictures of this. If you go by here in Clifton Park, right, this is still here. This thing is falling apart. You have trees growing through it. There's a high school nearby where when the kids let out, you don't the kids, right? The kids, the youths. You don't want to be around there. But yeah, this is the reservoir in Clifton Park. And I've taken photos of this too. And like I said, it's falling apart. There's trees growing through it. It's amazing. A lot of respect. Right? A lot of respect. But it is cool though, man. You still have the 18. What year was it? 1867. No, there's the year this was built, and it looks like it was just built in stone. The stone it was built to last. It looks like it could have been made last year. Okay, even though you have shingles falling off and you have trees growing through it. So, yeah. Well, anyway, now Baltimore gets a real bad rap, and it should. Okay. Now you think I'm gonna blame I'm gonna Hamden, right? Here we go. I'm gonna blame the right when. Okay, here we go. Real quick, perfect example of a little spontaneity here. Blucher Avenue. You had probably more Germans in Baltimore, okay, than even New York or Philly, okay? And I mean Germans coming over, not Dutchies, but Germans coming over from, the 19th century, right? Blucher Avenue, right? Frau Blucher, right? Well, known today as Wellington Street, built around 1898. The street's name change occurred during World War One, when Baltimore de-Germanized many of its street names. Blucher was the name of Prussian Marshal Gebhard Leberecht von Blucher. He fought with the Duke of Wellington at Waterloo, right? So that wasn't good enough, so they de-Germanized it, right? Yeah, that was, people forget about that. When it's brought up, it's like a footnote, what they were doing. Mencken was German, the German American, H.L. Mencken. He was against World War One. You can imagine what he was going through there. But you had a lot of Germans. There's one of the last guys killed in World War One is buried in the cemetery out in the east part of Baltimore. He was a German American. He was picked on because he was German, and he proved he proved himself. And he actually wrote a letter back to his friend that maybe you shouldn't sign up for this war. And they censed the censors. The Germans didn't censor their letters. The Americans and the British did. They in World War One. They did. I don't want to hear it. Right? I know they did. Right? Well, he got punished. He got thrown into the front line, and he was actually a good soldier. And apparently, when the armistice was about to go down, he had a good commander who was like, "I'm not gonna send my guys out to get killed. We're gonna wait out this hour, and we'll be fine." And for some reason, that guy ran out and attacked the Germans, his own blood. He got shot down literally in the last 10 seconds before the armistice. I don't know why I brought all that up, but I just wanted to bring up the fact, how many Germans were in Baltimore, how many breweries you had in Baltimore, and now Baltimore is kaput. You would tell these women that what your city would be like 100 years later. They would be horrified. They would think you were a madman. Yeah, it's better they didn't know, right? But we know, right? Just real quick with Baltimore, of course, Edgar Allan Poe is associated with the city. This is a place he lived for 2 years. I had visited this place. There's a project next to there, so act accordingly. This was a really good book in terms of I don't ever I want to be clear, like when I say I don't want to make it ever clear like, oh, this place was a paradise and then the bad people came in and then it's all falling apart, right? Baltimore always had a rough reputation. Mob town, poet and mob town. Of course, it's rough because of the older things that I still talk about. Okay, I know I sound like a Marxist, but the class issue is always around. It hasn't gone away, despite there being other intersections of gender and race. Mob town, I like that. The Bank of Maryland, But see, there's a difference, right? There's a difference between like this, like smashing up bankers' mansions and going at it with the military pigs, right? And drug dealing, drug selling homicide city that chases the people out of these places, okay? Who are doing the bidding uh, of the elite of today. Actually, I keep saying, but I don't ever want it to be like, oh, everything was a paradise. If only, like I say, you don't solve problems, you manage problems. You especially don't solve problems that are endemic to humanity. But anyway, just wanted to show here. This is a great book with Poe. Let's go real quick. This I've been here. Poe, his young wife, and the mother, who were in the Bronx. Actually, their remains were put together here in the 1870s by a school teacher who raised the funds. The happiest times he had in his life were with his young wife and the mother, and of course her death sort of was the beginning of the end for him. But this is a really awesome place. If somehow you find yourself in Baltimore, visit this spot. Keep your head on a swivel, and remember the things I said to you. Anyway, man, I love this book series. One last thing, in Southeast Baltimore, which looks like a neutron bomb hit it. You have throughout Baltimore, you have like World War I monuments that are falling into disrepair. Okay, I couldn't understand the length of time going by. Unlike New York, which is taking care of theirs for now, but there's a World War II monument that is falling apart in Southeast Baltimore. Most of the metal's been taken off it, and it's falling into disrepair in the Hooker occupying park that it's in. That was very satisfying for me to see. Anyway, enough later, Baltimore.